10 years is not a long time, and you might wonder why we're making a big deal of something that's not a long time. And I would say more than the past, what we are celebrating on this 10-year anniversary and what we celebrate in our EFC partnership is the future. In our own country today, sadly, we see evidence of people choosing to interact more and more only with those who agree with them, or who look like them, or who worship like them. Our partnership with EFZ is based on the idea that we will learn more and grow more by knowing people who speak a different language, who grew up in different circumstances, who know a different landscape as beauty, and that from that we will separate the superficial differences that are sometimes our focus from the fundamental commonalities that ought to be our focus. And you might say, well, gosh, that's a pretty big weight to lay on us, Mr. Quinn, that we're supposed to do this here in Hightstown when not everyone in the world is. And I would say, yes, that might be seen as a weight, but I think it is more properly an extraordinary opportunity which you have because of our partnership with EFZ. And if you tell me that building a better world is a lot to place on individual friendships that might last a lifetime, I would say that that is always how a better world has been built.
Distinguished Headmaster Mr. Quinn, faculty, and students, good morning. First, I would like to extend my gratitude to Mr. Quinn for inviting me to Peddie on the 10th anniversary of the EFZ Peddie Sister School relationship. To mark the occasion, I have brought for you a calligraphy work. Here's a line from one book, one of the great poets of the Tang Dynasty. If in this world an understanding friend can be found, then the ends of the earth seem like next door. Which means great distance is no barrier for the true friends to remain close as neighbors. I can't think of another quote that can better describe the relationship between our two schools. A decade ago, Mr. Green, Peddie's then headmaster, and I signed the Peddie EFC Friendship and the Cooperation Agreement in the Kelly Reading Room in the History Department. Time flies. Yet, vividly I remember the scene as it were just yesterday. I'd venture to say that we at the EFC knew very little of what an American elite school was like and how it worked until this exchange program took place. As a great school with a history of more than 150 years, Peddie is an academic powerhouse for sure. We're equally impressed, though, with your excellent sports and art programs, the richness of your extracurriculum offerings, and the close teacher-student relations are truly something inspiring to us. Our exchanges have made substantive progress from our humble start of formality. While there is a great physical distance between our schools, I'm proud to say that as time has gone on, our hearts are brought ever closer. Under the current leadership of both schools, Mr. Quinn and EFC Principal Mr. Dai, more people are brought to the program. It is estimated that now over 170 teachers and students from both sides have been involved in our exchanges. What is even more precious is that all those involved, students and faculty alike, have had wonderful experiences and fond memories from both schools. As a result, partners become lifelong friends. Not only has this program brought our two schools together, but also brought our young people closer in better understanding each other and the cultures of our two great nations. And that, I believe, has been and continues to be the real benefit of this program. I look forward to the 20th and the 30th anniversary of this program. May our friendship continue on.
to Mr. Quinn, Peddie faculty, staff, and students, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Patrick. I am an EFZ junior who took part in the Peddie EFZ exchange program. I feel honored to come here on my first visit to Peddie. On behalf of all the members of the exchange program, I would like to take this opportunity to express our sincere thanks to our host, Peddie teachers and students, for their invitation and gracious hospitality we have received since we arrived on October the 4th. I am also delighted that this visit has given me this opportunity to stand here during this chapel service and share with you my thoughts, which I've titled, When Distinct Cultures Collide, the decade EFZ went along with Peddie. 10 years ago, back in 2007, when Mr. Gao paid his visit to East China Normal University, the Peddie EFZ program took its shape through a very much brief talk. Originating from that simple exchange, no one could have ever imagined the noteworthy success we have achieved over the past decade. Now, 10 years later, right here, right now, as a student delegate of EFZ, I am honored to be here celebrating the 10-year anniversary of this remarkable exchange program. From my point of view, this program is not only a simple exchange of students and teachers, but it also demonstrates a unique integration of two distinct cultures and education styles. As an expatriate in Shanghai myself, I chose to enroll in the EFZ not for its fame, but for its diversity it embraces. You see, most of the grand old schools in China are steeped in tradition, but EFZ, founded in 1958, and the teachers there consider and highly regard the multiple dimensions of students and how they learn. EFZ students are encouraged to branch out into many fields of study and not simply divide students into different classes as they do in more traditional schools. Take my class, for example. I have enrolled in the experimental science class, which gathers a group of students focusing on STEM fields. But one of my classmates, Thomas, has shown his interest in traditional Chinese literature and will subsequently be encouraged to pursue that field of study. Most importantly, EFZ students are recognized not only for their academic achievements, but also their specialties beyond study, including sports, arts, and many other aspects. Though it is true that EFZ is a school that embraces a progressive style of education, at least that is how it's viewed in China, there is still divergence that lies between Peddie and EFZ. Though the collision of Eastern and Western education style is nothing new to some of us, it is something that most of my schoolmates have never experienced before. Our visit and this exchange program provides EFZ students and me with a precious opportunity to learn and compare between different education systems. I see at least two areas that should be examined. 1. Creativity versus effort. Western education systems put stress on the idea of creativity. In Peddie, every student has a different schedule where they got a chance to pick what they want to learn every semester. Of course, it is still a system, which means that many things are unified. But still, Peddie and Western schools seems to do its best to promote individual approaches for different students. Eastern education is much more about effort and diligence, meaning nothing is hard if you practice enough. Therefore, EFZ students are usually given lots of homework and are required to take additional classes during weekends. The peer pressure at EFZ pushes you to take a step ahead of what teachers are teaching at school. And secondly, participation versus reception. Western education moves further and further along the road of turning students into full-fledged partners in their own educational process. For example, in Peddie classrooms, students are encouraged to ask questions and dispute what their teachers may say. In Eastern education system, it is the opposite. EFZ students are primarily the recipients. We listen to the lecture of teachers, and the teaching process itself is far less interactive. We should remember that the Eastern and Western approaches are not opposing views, but rather simply different pathways to one and the same thing that we are all looking forward to achieve. Beyond pencils and books, the mutual visits between Peddie and EFZ students enabled us to forge profound friendship with Peddie partners, like Dan, Lizzie, and many more. The 3 weeks we spent together has certainly been a time to remember in my life as an EFZ student. I've always had my faith in an old Chinese saying that I would like to share with you. Although we live with a distance of thousands of miles between us, long distance separates not bosom friends. As the sistership between Peddie and EFZ meets its 10-year anniversary, it is on occasions like today when we come together to celebrate and share a common vision. Today, we look back on a past that provides a strong history that should give us hope that we will have success in the future. Both Peddie School and EFZ have stood the test of time, and now we should hold the common belief that future participants in this program will further enhance our sistership in the years still to come. As we prepare to leave, I hope you remember that old Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your field. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Thank you, and Al Viva.